All right, we are here with a news roundup. Welcome, everybody, to our live news roundup. We're going to talk about some different news stories and get your comments while we talk about them. How about that? We haven't done this in a while. So let's do it. And hello to our viewers, and thank you out there to our moderators. I see Sarah Joy moderating. Thank you, Sarah Joy. And Lizzie is moderating. Linda Belk is there moderating. Very nice. Let's see here. We have Papa Bear is moderating over there on Twitch. And hello to everybody watching on Facebook as well. Yeah, we haven't done one of these in a little while, but we're doing one now. All right. Hello, we got Bob Meyer, Paul Dorman, Kevin Dukes watching, Elaine Jerry Wyatt, Robin Cherry, and others. Cherry Cola Julie, Marcus Bell, Carlos Rosa, and others. Randy, 302, number, watching there. And Creta from Holland. NC Dude, Jacob Design. Welcome. Okay, let's talk about some different stories. Let's first talk about the story with President Macron of France getting slapped. You might have seen this video already. This is from BNO News, originally from Info Francais. I don't know who originally took it, but you can see BNO News here. This was today. If you haven't seen the video, let's watch the video first.
Oui, je suis à couvert carrément.
Bonjour.
Bonjour monsieur.
Bonjour monsieur.
Oh
Oh Vas-y, casse-toi de là.
Now you might wonder what happened there. You can see President Macron slapped in the face. Very odd. BBC says he was slapped in the face on an official visit to the southeast of France. He was seen walking up to a barrier on a trip to, I don't know how to pronounce this, Tain-l'Hermitage, outside the city of Valence. 2 men have been arrested, French media report. President Macron later called it an isolated event. I'm going to check some of the French sources to see if there's any updated details on this. The man reportedly shouted "down with Macronism" as he slapped the president, as well as Montjoie Saint-Denis, the battle cry of the old kingdom of France. In the video, President Macron briefly returned to the barrier after the incident and once again interacted with the crowd. The identity and the motive of the man are unclear. I'm going to check some of the French sites and see if there's any updates on this. Okay. Hang on a second. I need to time somebody out. I need to time somebody out who's posting toxic garbage in the chat that nobody else wants to look at. So I will time them out and eventually hide them if I have to. Okay, this is BFM TV. So this is a French site here. Emmanuel Macron slapped. Who are the 2 people arrested? Let's see what BFM TV has to say. This is a French site. 2 people were arrested. One of them is suspected of having slapped the head of state. The other of having filmed the scene. That's interesting. They are currently in police custody for willful violence against a person holding public authority, punishable by 3 years in prison or a fine of 45,000 euros. The two suspects are 28 years old and from Drôme. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. They are unknown to the police. One of them, the one who's suspected of having committed the act, is notably a fan of martial arts in the medieval universe. The attacker shouted, Montjoie Saint-Denis, down with Macron, Macroni, a war cry from the Capetians from the Kingdom of France in the 12th century. The phrase has since become a rallying cry for the far right. You know what's kind of weird with this? One weird thing is, like, you know, the article says the guy who slapped him, like, knew martial arts. I don't know the exact detail with it, but, like, this is, like, very dangerous. Like, so this article from BFM TV says, the one who's suspected of having slapped Macron is notably a fan of martial arts. Okay? So if that guy was, like, a real martial arts expert, if I don't know if he was, but if he was, I mean, he could have, like, seriously hurt Macron, right? If somebody knows what they're doing and they're that close to another person and the other person isn't expected to be getting hit, and they, like, what if the guy just, like, punched him in the face, right? Really hard. It's a very dangerous situation. So I don't know. I have no idea what security was done at the incident. I mean, you know, like, Biden will shake people's hands too, but it just shows you the danger. You know? But I mean, you can really, if somebody's not expecting something and you know what you're doing and you punch them in the head, I mean, I would think it's possible to kill somebody if you hit them the right way. Certainly you could seriously injure them. Anyway, here it is again. This is from B&O News posted this, Info Francais.
Oui, je vais tout ouvert carrément.
Bonjour.
Bonjour monsieur.
Oh!
Now, why did he go up to that guy? Also, he goes up there and, like, he walks right up to that guy. Did he know that guy? What was that guy picked out to speak to him? Like, he really does. It seems like to me that he actually makes an effort to go up to the guy. Dave says you can seriously harm a person with your fist. So I'm going to check some of the other French media. I mean, BFM TV didn't have anything about that, but I just wondered, like, who was the dude? Like, was he scheduled to talk to the guy? Devotee says that was a French insult slap. GK says, I find it odd the first person he touched was him. Well, maybe the guy knew that Macron was going to talk to him and planned this. Jeff Haas says it's weird. It's the first person he goes up to. So I just wonder, I'd like to know more about how he ended up talking to him. Happy Life says, this is something I have always imagined happening, especially in the U.S. D. Connolly says, lots of discontent in the regions of France with the status quo. Lady Edith says his security guards were back a bit. It's a whole interesting question of, like, when do security guards let someone famous like this interact with people like this? I mean, all presidents shake hands at certain events. But, like, how vetted was this crowd? GK doesn't think it was planned at all. You don't think it was planned that Macron was going to talk to him? Randy says the slap was more of a statement than to be harmful. Well, he still did slap him. Linda Belk says filming is now a crime. Well, I guess Linda, you know, I don't believe that. I don't know. It doesn't say in the article, but my guess is that it's not charged. The charge wasn't filming. My guess is that the article from BFM TV said that there were 2 people arrested, and one was the person doing the slapping, and the other one was somebody filming it. And my guess is that the person filming it would be arrested because they were seen as an accomplice. Like, I don't think the person filming it was arrested because they filmed it. My guess is that the authorities think this was some sort of planned thing, like a prank or something, or some sort of, like, if the person who was filming was in on it and knew it was going to happen and did nothing to stop it and actually was, you know, involved in it in some kind of way, I'm guessing there would be some kind of criminal charges that could be filed. Stinky Moko says it was for show rather than to actually hurt. Is that supposed to excuse it? He still slapped him. Also, it seemed like a pretty hard slap. I wonder also, I mean, I would think the US Secret Service would this is something they'll look at, I assume. And they'll be like, should we have Joe Biden shake hands? I mean, any U.S. prominent politician might look at this and say, should I change how I do things? You know, that's pretty serious. Yeah, see, Macron goes, GK says, watch their forearm handshake. Macron goes up to him and, he really seems to, address him. And the guy is and then Macron, touches his arm and talks to him. I don't know what's going on. DV3 saw some other videos. Hang on one second here. Oh, here's another angle. Hold on. See if I can get you this. So this is really quick. This is from Daily Mail. If you want to see the full video, go to dailymail.com. I'll just see if I can play the slap itself. Can I do this or not? Right there. Okay. Let me check also some of the other French sites. How about this one? Let's try this one. Let's try this one. I'm looking at Le Monde. I'm not even seeing it on the front at Le Monde. Let's try Le Parisien. Here it is. La Parisienne. Macron slapped during a trip. The danger can come from anywhere, says a formerly specialized police officer. Oh, I can't read this one. This is a paywall protected one. How about this? Let's try this one. This is from Le Figaro. Blah, 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 blah. Now, this is more like what Macron is saying. I was trying to find some actual more details. Anyways, if you have updates or more comments, you can write to me on Twitter, at Lookner on Twitter. Oh, but yeah, this is the angle we just saw. BFM TV also posted the reverse angle here. So like he goes right up to the guy.
Allez, venez là. Un petit coup.
Oula, 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 oula.
Viens là.
Oula, oula.
Oh, oh non, ils sont cons, quoi.
There not even that many people there. Look. I mean, it's not a huge crowd. Anna Arrow Ace Arena says, how to prevent that? Don't they vet crowds for such leaders? No interaction with public, scans to detect. And they might have vetted the crowd. Again, we don't know. They haven't. These details have not been released that I've seen. Helena says Macron didn't look like he was heading that way at first, then decided to go to the crowd. I'm not sure what the plan was originally. Hey, thanks Lee Field for your support, by the way. I appreciate that, Lee Field. Thank you. All right, hang on one sec here. Hang on. Let's see what Wall Street Journal says. Macron appears to get slapped. No, he got slapped. In the video, okay, a man appeared to slap Macron in a sign of how tensions are building ahead of next year's presidential election. The guy who slapped him said Montjoy Saint Denis. It's a battle cry that is still used in France as a motto by some far-right groups. This is interesting. The French public has a long history of accosting politicians, dousing them with flour or eggs. See, that's interesting. To accost is to approach and address boldly or aggressively. So the French public has a long history of accosting politicians, dousing them with flour or eggs. So, maybe it's a big deal, but maybe there it's not a big deal as it would be like in the U.S. That's interesting. The leader of the far-right National Rally Party, Marine Le Pen, said this behavior is unacceptable and deeply, deeply reprehensible in democracy. Miss Le Pen and others of her far-right party have railed against Mr. Macron, accusing him of being soft on crime, immigration, terrorism, and radical strains of Islam. Miss Le Pen is Mr. Macron's main rival in next year's presidential elections. A recent poll conducted by Harris Interactive showed Miss Le Pen gaining 46% of the vote, with Mr. Macron getting 54%. In the 2017 election, Macron won 66% and Miss Le Pen 33.9%. The other thing you have to be careful about with this stuff is, like, you have no idea who I mean, it could just be a crazy guy. You don't know what the guy's political beliefs are. I mean, you know, maybe the guy isn't on the far right and he was just saying that because he was pretending to be somebody on the far right or something. You know, so, you know, an incident like this where one person does something, you know, does this guy, like, one thought I have is like, does this guy have a social media channel? You know, is he trying to get, like, social media popularity? It seems like a stupid way to do it because you can get arrested. In the U.S., you would be arrested and probably convicted of a felony and might go to jail. Anyways, so but I'm not going to start reading in too much to this before, you know, it's one guy and we really don't know much about the guy. And maybe an accomplice. Jeff says, really uncalled for. Low Roller Scratcher says the crowd could have guns and knives. Well, I'm assuming they would have checked the crowd for that. Lou Hastings says, some people go to these events to make a scene. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, by the way, a quick thank you to Linda Fomasina for the Facebook stars. Thank you, Linda. That's very nice of you. Duster Singer says, I think it was meant as an insult. Hang on a second here. Raymond Gale is watching. Hello, Raymond Gale. Hang on here. What am I looking at here? Okay, well, I think we're going to move on from that story. Dispre is watching. Dispeer is watching. All right, next story. We talked about that one. I'll also be checking for, new news coming out as well. All right, so this is the live. This is the live news roundup on Agenda Free TV. On YouTube, it's Agenda Free TV 2. On YouTube, my main channel is Agenda Free TV. This is Agenda Free TV 2. We once in a while do these news roundups here, where we basically just talk about different stories from the day, and we take your comments on the air. So you can write to me on Twitter, @Lookner on Twitter. I try to check the chats out too, but there's a bunch of different chats. So best thing to do is write to me on Twitter, @Lookner. Hey, one of our viewers, for our next story, was mentioning this Low Roller Scratcher about these crazy meme stocks that, these stocks that go up and up with no relation to the fundamentals of the business. And even though the basic facts about the business suggest the stock should be much lower. There are lots and lots of individual investors who talk about and promote the stocks online, buy into the stocks, and they go way up. So the two ones most prominent of these are AMC and GameStop. And I think they're both, well, AMC is close to like its high for, I don't know if it's ever, but certainly the last several years. And GameStop is going up as well. And so they keep going up. So I want to talk about that for a second. You can see here, so AMC is a movie theater company. Their business is not in good shape. This is the 5-year chart for AMC. See, it's kind of like, look, as of February, the price was 6. In February, the price was 6. As of the beginning of the year, the price was 2. On January 8th, the price was 2. Now it's 54. So that's a 5-year chart there. And you might ask, what happened? Did something huge happen with the business of AMC that shows it's going to turn around? Did something hugely change about the business fundamentals of the company and their prospects to make money? Well, no, that did not happen. But it has become a very popular stock among individual investors. So it's in the last few days, it's kind of gone up and down some. It's actually got up to about That's well over 60. That was a few days ago. 54.74. And GameStop, which Low Roller Scratcher also mentioned, that's over 300 now. GameStop, here's the 5-year chart for GameStop. You can barely see the green line because it's so low. Pretty much almost all through 2020, it was around 4 or 3. 2019, it started at 12 and it finished the year around 6. And then all of a sudden, it started going up late last year. And now it's close, now it's over 300. GameStop stock sent higher by meme trading army ahead of earnings. This is from Yahoo Finance. The meme stock army is showing its support for the OG of the 2021 retail trading movement, GameStop, ahead of the company's earnings on Wednesday evening. It's clear that meme traders, when they say meme stock, a meme is like a funny thing that people post online, like a funny picture and text. So meme stocks are these stocks that individual traders, not like huge institutional investors, but individual people who might trade at home, on Robinhood or whatever. Individual investors, they discuss certain stocks online on boards like Wall Street Bets, and they get behind certain stocks. And it's like it becomes like the big, I don't know if fad is the right word, but certain stocks capture the attention of the meme traders, of the people in these online discussion boards. So Yahoo Finance says, it's clear that meme traders continue to overlook the present fundamental state of GameStop, which is bad. The business prospects of the company are bad. Instead, the meme traders appear to be staying true to a large shareholder and soon-to-be chairman Ryan Cohen, a.k.a. the founder of Chewy, outlining some form of revitalization plan for the chain in 2021. Not clear what that big plan will be. Some analysts have stopped offering coverage of GameStop. Yeah, this was Bank of America. You have these companies that offer analysis of professional analysts will offer an analysis of stock, and they'll say you should buy this one, sell this one. Here's what we project the price will be. I think it was Bank of America who said we're not going to offer analysis of of GameStop anymore because the stock has become so divorced from the actual fundamental business prospects. Yeah, here it is. Bank of America analyst throws in the towel on meme stocks, says fundamentals are not driving shares. This is from 4 days ago in CNBC. Oh, I have to read a different article. The dramatic volatility in meme stocks favored by Reddit traders has confounded Wall Street for months, and Bank of America has decided to stop trying to make sense of some of them. Analyst Curtis Nagel announced in a pair of client notes that Bank of America was terminating coverage. They're no longer going to provide analysis or price predictions of GameStop. Let's see if I can find it here. Where is it here? Bank of America stops covering GameStop, CNN. Bank of America analyst Curtis Nagel is not convinced that GameStop's fortunes have changed so dramatically in recent months as to justify the stock's big pop in 2021. Shares are up over more than 1,200% this year. That's even, I think, before the recent rise, the last couple of days. He wrote that non-fundamental factors have lifted GameStop shares recently, namely the number of conversations on Reddit related to the stock. The only real news on GameStop in the past few weeks, he said, were speculative reports about the company looking to cash in on the NFT craze. I'd like to find the Bed Bath and the Bank of America announcement. Where is that actual announcement? I want to read you the actual announcement by Bank of America. Hang on. Can't find it. I would think that the articles would link to it, but I keep pulling up articles and they don't link to the note by Bank of America. Here's another headline, Markets Insider. Bank of America ends coverage of GameStop and moves Bed Bath & Beyond to no rating as analysts say the meme stocks no longer trade on fundamentals. I want to read some comments on this. Oh, thank you, Seize the Day. I appreciate it, Seize the Day. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. And a quick thanks also to, Duster Singer. Hey, Duster Singer, that's super nice of you. Thank you, Duster Singer. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to read some comments on you. So again, these stocks are trading very high. GameStop suddenly went up to, I think, close to 400 in late 2020, I think it was. Was 2020 or early 2021? Now, there was this whole thing involved with that where it's a significant part of the reason that GameStop initially went up back early in the year is that a lot of people had shorted the stock and so bet against the stock. So there was this thing called a short squeeze where if a lot of people have bet against the stock and then people start buying the stock, the people who bet against the stock are actually forced to buy the stock to cover their bets. So that whole short squeeze thing was cited as the big reason the stock went up in January. I'm not aware that there's any big short squeeze now. From my understanding, you just have investors who are enthusiastic about the stock for reasons I don't really understand, just jumping in and buying it. And it's so now it went up, it went from like, it was around start of the year. I mean, it was like 15 or something. And then late last year it was like 5. But then it went up to close to 400. And then it went back down to like 50 in February. And now it's up around 300 again, GameStop. And then AMC, early this year it was at 2. It was at 2 in January. And then, in late January when GameStop went crazy, AMC went up to about 20. Then it went back down to 6 or 7. And then it's just gone crazy in the last, few weeks. Low Roller Scratcher says Wall Street Bets have over 10.4 million users now. I don't know how many people actually use it every day. But it's, a lot of people are investing in these stocks and talking about them online. Wes by Cal, our viewer, says Ponzi scheme, they rely on other people's money. They are not viable businesses. Underdog Rising does not think Tesla trades based on fundamentals. GK says it's still the first most heavily shorted stock on the market, same with AMC. So I don't know exactly how many people have bet against these stocks. I would not be surprised if a number of people are betting against the stocks. But at the same time, my reading on this has not suggested that the recent large rises in these stocks are because of a short squeeze. LJD says, I'm up over 450% profit on AMC if I sold today. Well, for your sake, I hope you get profit and not loss. Rage King thinks a lot of people are going to lose investing in this garbage while a few whales will make out like kings. Jeff Ha thinks AMC is just going up because of social media scams. Rhonda Reynolds says, I am liking AMC. Let me take some more comments from you. Missy Johnson thinks GameStop is a very viable business. Let me do this. I read a good article on this recently, and I want to see if I can find it. Now I can't. I thought I knew where it was. Let's see if I can find an update on this. I saw some articles about GameStop a week ago reading about the business. Here's an article from USA Today. Like GameStop, AMC is now riding the Reddit wave. What is a meme stock, and is it right for your market portfolio? It's not often that companies try to sell their stock alongside a warning that if you buy shares, you could lose all. But that's what AMC did when it disclosed plans to sell up to 11.5 million shares. The company has been selling a lot of new shares. The company itself, AMC, has been issuing new shares of its stock because the stock price is so much that if the company issues new shares of its stock, then people buy the shares, and so the company has more money. But that dilutes all the shares that are out there. So companies like public companies like AMC and GameStop, they're owned by the shareholders, right? So, say there's 1 million shares out there. That means each share is 1/1,000,000th of the company that you own. But to make more money, the company can offer more shares of stock. They can say, okay, we're going to create more shares. But then that means that each share, if the more shares there are out there, the less of the company each share represents. AMC has had a tumultuous ride since the pandemic began. The company's theaters were temporarily closed, leading to a collapse in revenue and placing the chain on a verge of insolvency. That's when retail traders, meaning individual investors, rallied behind AMC stock, sending the shares soaring in a bid to undermine sophisticated Wall Street investors who had bet on the stock to implode. That was earlier this year. Now, with movie theaters reopened and moviegoers returning to see shows, there is some hope on the horizon, yet the company's financial situation remains rocky. Still, the company's stock is on a run, having increased more than 30-fold since the start of the year. Why is the stock rising? In short, because retail investors, that would be individuals, not like big firms, individuals who are investing their own money, are loosely organizing a bid via social media messaging boards to drive up the company's shares. In recent days, the stock has also gotten a boost from promising box office performance from movies like A Quiet Place 2 and Cruella. Although I've read articles saying that the fact that movie theaters are going to open up and more people are going to go to movies is already priced into the stock. This is really interesting. Traders are also apparently emboldened by news that AMC raised more than $230 million by selling 8.5 million shares of stock to Mudrick Capital Management. That was followed by a Bloomberg report that Mudrick had already moved to sell its shares. So basically, to make the company, I believe, has a lot of debt. So if you're the company and you see your stock price going crazy, you might be like, well, we can make some money by just issuing more stock, because we'll sell more shares of our company and people will buy it, and then we'll get the money from that, and then we can pay off our debts or invest in business or whatever. So they did that. They issued. One thing they did is they issued 8.5 million new shares of stock, which makes everybody else's shares. If a company issues more shares, then each share out there is worth less of the company, right? So when a company issues more shares of a stock, in theory, the value of the stock should, you think it might go down because there should be some downward pressure because there's more stock out there, so each stock is worth less of the company. Typically, news of a company diluting its stock by issuing more shares, and then also they sold these shares to a financial firm, and then the financial firm immediately sold the shares they bought from the company. So They issued 8.5 million shares, sold them to this company, Mudrick Capital, and then Mudrick Capital sold them off quickly, viewing the company as overvalued. Typically, news of a company diluting its stock by issuing more shares, as well as news of a major shareholder offloading its stake of stock, would be viewed as a bad sign. But the typical rules don't necessarily apply here. This analyst said the retail force, the individual purchasers behind this movement is still strong, so it is anyone's guess how much larger this bubble can grow. A meme stock, says USA Today, is any publicly traded company that is benefiting from the forces described above, a band of ordinary investors who are using social media to drive interest in the company's shares. Anyways, you can read more about about that in USA Today. But whenever I've done reading on this, I've never seen any article that explained, that laid out, here is why the stock should be this high, or even remotely this high. I see article after article saying, no, nothing's really changed that much about the businesses. The prices have become totally divorced from the business fundamentals. Give me a shout. Let me know your comments at Lookner on Twitter. Hang on one sec here. Super 666 player thinks there's a good chance AMC will have a monopoly. All the other theater chains are going out of business. That's what Super 666 player says. Shaggy says games are streamed to your house now. You'd have to be a meathead to invest in GameStop at this point. One of our viewers mentioned Bed Bath & Beyond on the sidewalk guy. I haven't checked that lately. What's going on with that? Bed Bath & Beyond stock. At the start of the year, it was at 19. Now it's at 36. It hasn't gone up as much. I mean, actually, it was 23 a month ago, 3 weeks ago, and now it's 36. But it hasn't gone up as much as those other stocks have. That's the 5-year chart. What's this? Here is, no, that's not what I want to look. I want to look at this one. AMC, other stocks. The meme stock turns option market upside down. I'm not even going to understand this article about the options market. Anyways, you can look at that at Wall Street Journal. Jeff Haas says, check out CLOV. Low Roller Scratcher says, CLOV is the biggest meme stock today. Well, there's close, CLOV. CLOV was trading at about 8 6 days ago, and now it's at 20. CNBC, Clover Health shares double on session at one point as Reddit retail trading mania spreads. Personally, what I think is happening is I think a lot of people are just excited by by what they perceive as the opportunity to make tons of money quickly. So they're just getting, they're into this thing where like they say, hey, look what happened to GameStop and look what happened to AMC. So I want to do this. I want to put my money into this and make all this money quickly. And what's the next one going to be? My guess is a lot of it is just that. Let's see here. Passionate day traders glued to their Reddit message boards have found their new favorite target, Clover Health. The Medicare insurance startup jumped more than 100% today. Chatter about Clover grew on Reddit's Wall Street Bets forum, which now has more than 10 million participants. Clover became the most mentioned name in the infamous chat room on Tuesday. A short squeeze could be in play for Clover Health, which has 43.5% of its float shares sold short. That compares with about 18% short interest in AMC. When a heavily shorted stock, that means bet against, suddenly jumps high, short sellers are forced to buy back shares and close their short position to cut losses. Retail traders on Reddit are encouraging each other to take advantage of the big short interest in Clover and aim to squeeze out short sellers. Earlier this year, shares of Clover tumbled after short seller Hindenburg published a scathing report that called the company a broken business. Clover said in February it received a notice of investigation from the Securities and Exchange Commission. The SEC said yesterday it's keeping a close eye on the recent wild trading in certain stocks to determine if there have been any disruptions of the market, manipulative trading, or other misconduct. Radchick says, so much volatility in markets these days, always has been, but damn. Well, I don't know. I think this is kind of a new phenomenon with this kind of volatility, where you have these stocks, a number of stocks like whose fundamentals don't seem to have changed, just going up so much and then going down so much. I mean, again, GameStop late last year, was... At the start of this year, it was trading at about 13 or so, or 15. And then in November, then in January, it went up to like 400. Then it went down to 50. Now it's at 300 again. I mean, these are huge swings, not just over a day, over a long period of time. I mean, sudden swings, but they happen multiple times. Same with AMC. I mean, look at this. It was at 3 in January. Then it went up to like 20. Then it went down. And then 5 months later, it goes up to 55 or 60 or whatever it is. Fox Business posted this yesterday. SEC mulls GameStop AMC gamification crackdown with regulatory layer. So what is the regulation that would happen? So Robinhood is often brought up when talking about this. Robinhood is an app that makes it very easy to buy and sell stocks. I'm sure some of you have used Robinhood or are familiar with it. But it makes it very, very easy. You just get the app and you put some money in the account. You can start buying and selling stocks, and it's all very easy on the app. The SEC is weighing a significant crackdown on so-called meme stock investing that could impose additional regulatory burdens on low and no-fee brokerages. What's the deal with the regulation? A regulation that could force the firms like Robinhood to warn investors about the pitfalls of buying these risky stocks before a trade is completed. So that would be the regulation, that they have to post a warning on the screen or something. SEC Chair Gary Gensler is worried these stocks are too easy to trade on Robinhood and elsewhere and that investors could be setting themselves up for massive losses. According to this proposed regulation, Robinhood would have to step in and warn investors about the risk of trading some of these stocks. So the worry here, the worry here is just that these stocks are going to crash and tons of people are going to lose money, a lot of money, right? So it's not a good thing for the country if the stocks crash and you have a bunch of people who've put a significant amount of their, earnings or savings into these stocks and just lose it. That's the thing to avoid happening. So that's when you hear that talk of regulation like that, that's what that's trying to avoid. What's happening with crypto today? Meanwhile, Bitcoin, which was at over 60,000, a couple weeks ago, is now at 32,000. And Dogecoin, which had got up into the 60s, is at 33 cents. There's the Bitcoin chart from 1 year. 11,000 last November. It went up to over 60,000 a couple months ago. And now it's at 32,000 something. I think it was at 31,000 something earlier today. Be careful investing in these things. David Allen, I think you're behind in the stream. Cyborgan says it's not a pump and dump because there's no false info being spread. A pump and dump is fraudulent because you lie about the company to make it look better to offload your stuff. Just getting other people to ignore the company performance isn't a pump and dump. I guess it depends on how you define pump and dump. There's a concern, like I don't know who's buying and selling that stuff, but there's a concern, like you'll see this if you start like reading articles about this, you'll see concerns raised that some of the people, like there might be people who buy a lot of the stock and then they go online and say how great the stock is with the plan to just sell it when the stock goes up. And then the people who really lose out are the people who buy at the end, because then the stock goes way down and they don't have any profit to take. They just bought it at the high point, and then it just drops precipitously, and then they're left. They call it holding the bag. But I mean, you see this around the world, though, when you see bubbles or things that look like they might be bubbles. Governments get worried because if too many people invest too much money in something that might be a bubble and then the bubble crashes, then you're going to have huge financial pain. And one of our viewers just used the word bailout. The government might be forced to, they might feel like they have to help the people. If people lose a ton of their savings, then that can have all kinds of ramifications for the economy. But it's certainly not a good thing for the economy if lots of people in a country lose a huge amount of money very fast. Low Roller Scratcher says people fear of missing out on the stock since they bought it too late. Dart Q says get-rich-quick schemes will break you. Ashley Russell says, I wish AMC would hit 100 so my husband could stop talking about it and cash out. That's from Ashley. The Macaw lady says, isn't this sort of thing why we had problems in 2008? That I don't have the knowledge to really speak intelligently about. Chris Lund says, I made a good amount of money on AMC, to be honest, but I don't know what I'm doing. I just buy and hold. Now, you don't make the money until you sell it, remember, though. You don't have that cash in your pocket until you sell it. All right, I think we might have to go to a different story. Mark Nagy talks about the regulations on Bitcoin in China. Mark says China's central bank is moving to accelerate the release of its own digital currency. Yeah, China is just clearly, the Chinese government clearly does not want people using Bitcoin in China. They like to, I mean, for one thing, they like to have control over what people are doing and control, you know, they don't like people doing things that are secretive, that they can't observe. So if people are, oh, hang on one second here. Oops, sorry. Hold on. Hang on. Sorry, my phone started blowing up. Let me just take care of this. Guys, I need 15 seconds. Give me about 15 seconds. Hang on. I just need to deal with something for about 20 seconds here. So just let me just do this. Hang on. I'll let you look at this, and then we'll cover more news. Sorry. Unexpected thing. Be back in 1 minute. That was less than a minute. That wasn't even a minute. All right, everything's under control. Okay. All right, we're back. We are covering news. Really quick, I don't want to get too hung up on it because we've been talking about all the finance stuff for a while. But yeah, as one of our viewers mentioned in Facebook, China doesn't seem to want people using Bitcoin in China. More and more regulations there. But the overall idea, I think, is that they don't want their citizens doing things the government doesn't know about. So if people are using Bitcoin, to buy and sell things, and the government can't trace it and trace who's buying it and who's selling it and who has the money, that's not going to be something China likes. It seems like they're basically shutting down Bitcoin in China. It's been an ongoing process. One day ago, The Guardian, China blocks cryptocurrency Weibo accounts. Not just Bitcoin, I guess all cryptocurrency. Maybe all cryptocurrency. China blocks cryptocurrency Weibo accounts in Judgment Day for Bitcoin. Oh, several popular accounts on Twitter-like service Weibo are closed down. China has stepped up its crackdown on Bitcoin trading and mining, blocking a slew of cryptocurrency-related accounts on the Twitter-like Weibo platform over the weekend. More actions are expected, including linking illegal crypto activities in China more directly with the company's criminal law, according to analysts and a financial regulator. Last month, China's State Council or Cabinet voted to crack down on Bitcoin mining and trading, escalating a campaign against cryptocurrencies. I mean, you can see where this is going in China. The crackdown also comes as China's central bank is accelerating testing of its own digital currency. Lady Edith says, can't control Bitcoin, China hates it. Okay. Let's move on. Let's move on from that stuff. India had said they might ban Bitcoin too. Whatever happened with that? Six days ago, India's indecision on a crypto crackdown leaves investors and exchanges in limbo. That's from 6 days ago. But the article is paywalled from Fortune. There's an article here from last month. India's government is rethinking crypto ban. All right, let's move on. Different story. All right, we are doing, this is Agenda Free TV 2. Well, it's Agenda Free TV on non-YouTube, and it's Agenda Free TV 2 on YouTube. On YouTube, my main channel is Agenda Free TV. And we're just doing a news roundup where we talk about different news stories, big news stories today. We get your reaction to them. And we read your comments on the air. We do this once in a while here. So you can write to me on Twitter. @Lookner on Twitter is where you can reach me. Thank you. And thanks to our moderators. Linda Belk's moderating there on Twitter. We got Angel Shark. Is moderating in YouTube. Sarah Joy is moderating there. Thank you. Lizzie is moderating there. We had Papa Bear moderating in Twitch. And Bastion Girl Idaho Star. They're there as well. All right, different story, different story. By the way, I'm going to keep an eye on this. There's some fire weather watches for Western U.S. Let's see here. That's not current. Is this current? Red flag warning. Is this the one? I thought this page would list the warnings. How do we get the info about it? Red flag warning remains in effect until 10 p.m. Mountain Time Thursday for wind and low relative humidity for fire weather zones. I thought I saw something else about this. Now I can't find it. Was it Cal Fire who posted it? Let's see. Yes. Red flag warning in effect for the eastern portion of California on Wednesday, tomorrow, due to gusty winds and low humidity. This is critical fire weather. Keep an eye on that. I hope we don't hear about any big fires. But something to keep an eye on. And then, let's see here. There was this kind of odd story. I was going to talk about. Our viewer Mark Worling also mentioned this too. I didn't even realize this was going on yesterday. I was traveling yesterday. There was like a huge protest. Is this the one I was talking about? Is this the most recent article? This is from Star Tribune. Is there a more recent article? Because like there's this pipeline that's being replaced in like I believe the Midwest, and then there was like a huge protest about it yesterday with like I think a couple thousand people. Oil pipeline foes protests Enbridge's Line 3 in Minnesota. They're rebuilding this pipeline. This says hundreds of protesters vowing to do whatever it takes to stop a Canadian-based company's push to replace an aging pipeline. Not a new pipeline, they're replacing the pipeline. Blocked, I think that some of it's in a different location though, blocked a pump station yesterday in northern Minnesota, with some people chaining themselves to construction equipment before police began making arrests. This is from the Star Tribune. Environmental and tribal groups say Enbridge's Energy's plan to rebuild Line 3, which would carry Canadian tar sands oil and regular crude from Alberta to Wisconsin, would worsen climate change and risk spills in sensitive areas where Native Americans harvest wild rice, hunt, fish, gather medicinal plants, and claim treaty rights. Activists said they were pitching tents at the pump station site Monday night, and an AP reporter saw people rolling a large wooden spool that holds wire into a pile of trees and twigs. Are they there today? I don't even know. Hang on. I wonder if they're there today. Anna Arrow Ace Arena said, I saw that headline. Unicorn Riot was streaming it. Oh, Unicorn Riot is live. Okay. If you want to watch it, go to Unicorn Riot. This is what their channel looks like. I can't play their video. See, it says Unicorn Riot, Indigenous-led direct actions move to stop Line 3. After yesterday's mass direct action against Line 3, water protectors are still locked down in the Good Trouble boat that's blocking the access road to the Two Inlets pumping station. So you can watch that on Unicorn Riot. I guess they're live right now. Oh, are they live right now? I think they are live. JJ Jennifer says that, yes, they are still live. New York Times says police make mass arrests at protest against oil pipeline. Police arrested activists yesterday and appeared to use a crowd-dispelling sonic device. I saw there was some controversy because police might have used like a helicopter to try to get people out of there, like a federal helicopter. See what it says here. Protesters came from across the country to fight an expansion of Line 3, a $9 billion pipeline operated by a Canadian company. Some said they had come ready to risk arrest. Late on Monday, police began making arrests after dozens of activists used an old fishing boat, bamboo, and steel cable to blockade the road to a construction site off Highway 71 north of Park Rapids. Several hundred others scaled the fence at the site and occupied it, some climbing atop diggers and transformer boxes or chaining themselves to construction equipment. Now look at this. Police later escalated their attempts to end the protest using what appeared to be a crowd-dispelling sonic device known as an LRAD, or long-range acoustic device, on the protesters, and using bolt cutters and saws to cut people loose from the equipment they had chained themselves to. More than 100 people had been arrested, according to this nonprofit. Over the weekend and into Monday, some 2,000 people took part in drum circles and prayer gatherings and surveyed the network of construction sites that dot the woods. I read a different article that said the protest yesterday was much bigger than the ones they'd been having there. The project is a 340-mile rerouting of a wider pipeline network. Built in the 1960s, the current pipeline has been beset with corrosion, leaks, and spills. So I'll keep an eye on this. I didn't even realize this was such a big protest yesterday. Oris says, good, arrest them. The companies are following the law. If these people want change, they need to change the laws and regulations. Let's see if I can find that video of the helicopter. Here it is. I think. Now I can't find it. I thought she posted it. Yes, look. This is from Nicole Saganga. U.S. Customs and Border Protection responds after a CBP helicopter used rotor wash to try to disperse activists from an occupied Line 3 pump station near Park Rapids, Minnesota. You can see Evan Frost yesterday posted this. He is a journalist with NPR. DHS Border Patrol is using helicopter rotor wash to try to clear out activists from an occupied Line 3 pump station north of Park Rapids. More than 24 activists are locked down to equipment inside. Then he said it's the correction. The helicopter is Customs and Border Protection. Then there was this question on whether this was illegal for them to do this. So Nicole Saganga said, U.S. Customs and Border Protection responds after a CBP helicopter used rotor wash to try to disperse activists from an occupied Line 3 pump station near Park Rapids, Minnesota. U.S. Customs and Border Protection in Grand Forks responded to a local law enforcement request for assistance to address a gathering of people who were reported to have trespassed on private property. CBP's headquarters is investigating the facts to determine precisely what occurred and whether the actions taken were justified. So there's this question as to whether they're allowed to use this helicopter for that purpose. I'm not sure. I wonder. I have no idea if that is that. I mean, it was a couple thousand people yesterday. Is that going to continue happening there? Elizabeth G says it's illegal for them to trespass and chain themselves to equipment. Anna says, can the disruptive sound device that was reportedly used on protesters, can it hurt ears long term or cause brain issues? Is it a substitute for bullets is it for like rubber bullets? Nicolette Geese says Ford Fisher was there. Oh. But he wasn't, I don't think Ford was live streaming. Let me check his account. He does good work, Ford. Yeah, Ford Fisher, a photo thread. Activist occupied a Line 3 pipeline construction site in northern Minnesota yesterday, halting operations for the day. Just before 5 p.m., police from several departments came and began arrests, initially scuffling with protesters linking arms at the entrance. Oh, you can watch, he did a video on it if you want to watch Ford Fisher's video. Richard Train believes there's some sort of law that I can't even see. I'd have to read through the specifics of that law. I think Richard might be saying that the helicopter is not supposed to fly that close to the ground to disperse people, but I'm not sure. Now, Richard says helicopter operations may be conducted. Looks like Richard cut and paste something. I'm not sure what to make of it. I'm not sure what to make of it. I'd have to know more. Michael Rivers says Ford Fisher is a great guy. Our viewer, Mark, says Jane Fonda was on CNN today about Line 3 pipeline. She supports the protest. Here's a different article on it. Pipeline protesters seize Minnesota construction site in bid to stop $4 billion project. The protests have done little to impede the replacement of the decades-old pipeline, according to the company. This is from Washington Post. The protesters were led by Native American women and joined by celebrities such as Jane Fonda and Catherine Keener. The intensifying conflict over Line 3 has been driven in part by indigenous activists who see a double-barreled threat in the pipeline, a carbon-producing fossil fuel project at a time of worsening climate change, and one that also risks polluting tribal lands in the headwaters of the Mississippi River. Emboldened by some victories, such as the cancellation of the Keystone XL pipeline and the gatherings at Standing Rock, protesters hope to intensify pressure on the Biden administration to suspend the pipeline permit before the project is completed. So far, the activism has done little to impede the $4 billion project, which is the replacement of a decades-old pipeline, although portions of it travel on a new route. About 60% of the Minnesota portion of the new line has been built. The pipeline is about 1,000 miles long and runs from Alberta, Canada to Wisconsin. Protesters stormed the Two Inlets pump station. They said the seriousness of the climate crisis demands more dramatic action to stop fossil fuel protests. These are protesters there at a pump station. And these are protesters occupying yesterday a construction site. One Native American woman from Boston said, "I traveled out here 2 days so I can sit here and do what I'm doing now. I'm tired of these corporations busting through all these sacred lands." And she said, people must take the climate crisis more seriously. By mid-afternoon, a DHS helicopter flew circles over the pump station, telling the protesters to leave and that they were on the site illegally. Interesting. So I'm interested to see, are there going to be more, like, this got some press. Are more people going to start showing up there? I have no idea. Like, is yesterday going to be the biggest protest? My understanding is that yesterday was like the biggest protest there by far. Is this going to become like a more popular cause now? Are more people going to travel there? I have no idea. It's the first I had heard of it was yesterday. It was actually today, I think. LJD thinks more protesters are on the way. I'm not seeing, the articles don't really talk about that. What's the future of the protesting is going to be. But it is getting a lot of press now. You know, maybe there's people out there who feel strong about these type of issues who didn't even know it was going on. Then they see this going on, they're like, oh, I'm going to go there. Lil Chi says it's possible. Ooh, here's an update. Look, NPR News. Protesters maintain blockade overnight at Line 3 pipeline site. So this just came out. NPR and the Associated Press. Activists lay underneath a boat that is blocking a road to the pump station. 4 protesters spent the night attached to a boat that protesters had set up to block the entrance to the construction site. I think this is what they're showing on Unicorn Riot right now. The direct action was part of an indigenous-led multi-day event called the Treaty People Gathering, which began over the weekend and is expected to reach into the week with prayer marches and more direct action. The primary goal is to push the Biden administration to stop the Line 3 project, as it did the Keystone XL pipeline. Line 3 opponents argue that in addition to exacerbating climate change and putting nearby waters at risk, the project threatens tribal members' rights to hunt, fish, and gather wild rice on land outside reservation borders, as outlined in several treaties with the U.S. government. Enbridge says the original pipeline is deteriorating. It says the new line, made from stronger steel, will better protect the environment while restoring its capacity and ensuring reliable deliveries to U.S. refineries. Protesters said the gathering was the largest show of resistance yet to the project. Biden has not yet taken a stand on Line 3. This is the boat that's blocking a road to a construction site. There. That's from NPR News. Interesting. JJ Jennifer, we talked about the Macron story earlier. Rewind to the beginning of the stream. Where was that? Hold on one second here. I'll be keeping an eye on that story. I wasn't familiar with it until today. Where is... Hang on a second here. Hang on. This person, Evan Frost, is covering it. I'm going to follow him to see if what he posts from there. But again, if you want to watch a live stream of that, it looks like Unicorn Riot is showing it. Oh, they just stopped their live stream. See, it says Unicorn Riot, Indigenous-led direct actions move to stop Line 3. They've been actually out there a bunch the last few days. All right. Linda says it wouldn't be hard to move if the police really wanted to move it. Well, I think the idea is to avoid any kind of too big of a conflict with the protesters. Probably that could stir people up more. Tion says the Unicorn Riot stream had some odd things happening at the end before it cut off. Anna says Unicorn will pop back up as they usually do, like peekaboo. Black Raven sent me this. Honor of the Earth posted a video of Jane Fonda addressing water protectors. I think an article I read talked about why they're called water protectors. I'm not sure. But anyways, this was at the protest site. I don't know if this was today or yesterday. Accessibility for all says hundreds, not thousands, attended the pipeline replacement. Well, we just read an article that said a couple thousand. 30 were arrested, not mass arrests. Or some people would say 30 is mass arrests. Also, a nonprofit said over 100 were arrested. Were you there? Did you count the people individually? Because we just read you an article that said like 2,000 people were there. What are your sources? Don Veek, our viewer, says, important to note that it's not a new pipeline. It's to fix and repair the existing line. Now, part of it is in a new location, though. But I do agree, as Don says, that an important part of the story is that it's not a brand new pipeline. Mark Whirling says Unicorn Ride is back on live right now. So again, you can go to Unicorn Ride on YouTube and watch their live stream. They're at the boat. They're at the boat, and there's some law enforcement there. So it looks like law enforcement, who knows, maybe he's going to remove the people from the boat. Again, if you go to Unicorn Ride on YouTube, maybe on Twitter, I haven't checked, but they are showing this boat that's blocking the road with a few people, a few protesters, I guess, maybe chained to the boat or something, or at least next to the boat. John Elliott says police were harassing Unicorn Ride. I did not see it, so I don't know exactly what happened. Rapper Pooh Shiesty has reportedly been arrested, says DJ Academics. Pooh Shiesty arrested after he surrenders himself to Miami police. He's charged with aggravated assault battery for allegedly discharging a firearm in a club where at least one person was hit with a bullet. He's a pretty well-known rapper. Anyways, that's something I'm going to keep an eye on that story. We'll see if how that develops. LJD says, I did hear protesters complaining about celebrities quickly stopping by for a photo op, then leaving while everyone else was out in the heat. Slugmeat had never heard of that story before. Me neither before today. Then there was this other story, which is, there was a story yesterday about an alleged hate crime in Canada. But there was not a lot of details on it. Let me check. Let me see if I can get the Canadian sourcing for that. So there was this report that a truck had hit a bunch of people, and the authorities said the person driving the truck was targeting the people because they were Muslim. But I haven't heard many details on it. This is from CBC. This is from today. Muslim family ID'd in fatal truck attack in London, Ontario, known for commitment to community. Man 20 charged with 4 counts of murder, 1 account of attempted murder. Police are calling it a hate-motivated attack in London, Ontario. 2 parents, 46 and 44, and their 15-year-old daughter and the husband's mother were killed after a black truck slammed into them as they took an evening walk. Police say the driver of the truck planned the attack and targeted the family because of their Muslim faith. Planned the attack. But I don't believe a lot of details have been released on this. Let's see. Okay, that's that. The Prime Minister called it a terrorist attack. Prime Minister Trudeau today condemned a brutal, cowardly, and brazen attack. He said it was a terrorist attack. He said Sunday's attack was not a one-off, citing numerous eruptions of anti-Muslim violence in recent years that have claimed lives. London, Ontario police have said that they believe the driver, a 20-year-old man, intentionally targeted the victims because of their Islamic faith. There is evidence that this was a planned, premeditated attack motivated by hate, said a criminal investigator. The police have so far declined to explain how they came to this conclusion, so we don't have any more details than that. Yeah, so I'm guessing eventually they'll release more information. Jeff Ha, our viewer, says, "How do they know he planned this?" Yeah, I mean, they seem confident, but that information hasn't been released yet. Yes, this was in London, Ontario, in Canada. Yes, Claire Bear says, very sad story. I mean, it's certainly very sad. You have a family of 4 people who were killed. It's terrible. Yeah, and I have no idea. I've heard no specifics on the planning, whether he knew the people or was familiar with them. Carolyn Potts mentioned London Free Press. London Free Press says police remain at accused mass killer's downtown London, Ontario home. This is Canada. Police may be focusing part of their investigation on a downtown London, Ontario landmark's parking garage. Workers said police were interested in the security footage of its underground parking lot, which is commonly used by area residents to park their vehicles, which is near where the suspect lived. Police have alleged a black pickup truck was used to strike a Muslim family that was out for a walk in northwest London, Ontario, Sunday night, killing 4 members of the family and injuring another 9-year-old boy. It's the worst mass killing in London, Ontario history, and one police allege was motivated by anti-Islamic hatred. London police have released few details about the suspect. A pair of neighbors told London Free Press the suspect lived alone in his unit and described him as an introverted white man who played video games and rarely interacted with those living nearby. One neighbor said she had several arguments with him over constant noise from his unit. I had a lot of fights with him and had to bang on his door and ask him to stop because I have a 4-year-old and it was just constant even at like 3 a.m. It's strange. It's just we clearly the police have more details, but there's not a lot of details, specifics out there. Certainly condolences to the rest of the family. Seize the Day, who's in Canada, says agree to expect details. LNG says it's Canada, don't expect details. GK says, I'd like to know if he singled them out far in advance or if he simply targeted them because of how they looked or were dressed. Carolyn says there's a vigil on Friday and Doug Ford is relaxing COVID restrictions to allow the vigil. On the Sidewalk guy says, brain turned to mush by video games. There's been nothing discussed by authorities about why this person did this and any possible connection to video games. Nicolette said the whole family except the little boy died. Okay. You are watching our live news roundup, where we talk about some of the big stories of the day. We take your comments on the air. So write to me while we're on the air. Carolyn L. Potts says, London, Ontario is my hometown, and I drive that section of road daily. So if you're watching on YouTube, this is Agenda Free TV 2. My main channel on YouTube is Agenda Free TV, where if there's like a big breaking news story, we go live and cover that. So so subscribe to that if you want. If you've never seen the channel before and you're on YouTube, you might want to subscribe to Agenda Free TV, because we're on the air way more usually than here. Although lately it's been kind of strange. There haven't been that many big news stories of the kind I would normally cover on Agenda Free TV. I also have a personal channel where I live stream non-news stuff, especially when it's not busy with the news. That's called Lookner. That's on YouTube. By the way, if you like chatting with other viewers, which I know a lot of you do, there's a Discord chat for fans of my channels on Discord. So you can check that out. Also, it's kind of cool. It's free, but if you sign up, you get notifications for all of the videos I do on all of my channels. So check out the Discord. The link is at the bottom of the YouTube video description for this broadcast, and the mods can also post that Discord link as well. And I cover news constantly on my Twitter, post breaking news. You can follow me on Twitter at Lookner on Twitter. Oh, hang on one second here. Hang on. What was I looking for here? That's what I was looking for. Hold on. What is this? Sorry, Facebook, I was looking at the Facebook page, and they kind of like switched some stuff up, and it's confusing me. What is going on with this? I'll have to look into that. It's very confusing. Oh, here it is. Okay, I see. That's interesting, actually. All right. Sorry, I just had to... Facebook was confusing me, so I needed to check something out. Okay, what else? Oh, hey, something else to watch out for, something else to keep an eye on is that I believe Sunday could be the day that Benjamin Netanyahu is no longer the Prime Minister of Israel anymore. Because an agreement has been reached among people in the parliament of Israel, among representatives, which is the Knesset. A majority of the parliament has agreed to form a new government where Benjamin Netanyahu would not be the prime minister. So if that doesn't change, I think that becomes official on Sunday. If none of the representatives pull out of that agreement, that I think would become official on Sunday. Yeah, look. Times of Israel, new government swearing in to be held Sunday at 4 p.m. The Knesset vote approving the new government will be held Sunday at 4 p.m. Israel time, which will be Sunday morning U.S. time. Following the confidence vote, the new prime minister, alternate prime minister, and full cabinet will be sworn in. The parliament will also elect its new speaker. So, if nothing changes Netanyahu will stop being prime minister on Sunday. After 15 years leading Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu's time may be up. So he's the prime minister, but the way you get to be prime minister is you have the support of a majority of the Knesset, which is the parliament. I think it's 61 members of parliament you need. And he has managed to stay prime minister for 15 years. Israel's longest-serving prime minister could be thrown out of office on Sunday, says CBS News, after years of inconclusive election results, an alliance of right-wing, left-wing, centrist, and Arab lawmakers. This very inclusive alliance, they claim to have just enough votes in Israel's parliament to form a new government and unseat the prime minister. The stage is set for the most volatile political upheaval Israel has seen in over a decade. Netanyahu has labeled the new coalition the greatest election fraud in the history of democracy. The coalition hoping to topple Netanyahu is led by the premier's former ally, Naftali Bennett, who has forged an uneasy alliance across the political spectrum, including for the first time with an Arab Islamist party. Bennett, the man poised to be Israel's next prime minister, has told Netanyahu to let it go and not leave scorched earth behind him as he departs the post he's held for the last 12 years, his second term. The head of Israel's National Security Service, Shin Bet, warned of a serious rise in hate speech, especially on social media platforms, amid the politically charged atmosphere in Israel, which he said could lead to physical violence. The prime minister appeared determined to fight into the bitter end. For days, he's been trying to rally his supporters against the coalition to sway the razor-thin majority held by the bloc. I think if he can get one person to change their vote, Netanyahu, he could stay in power. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that until Sunday. I mean, just to see how tense a time it could be. Imagine in the U.S. if the president was chosen by members of like the Senate or something, and it was going to be a switch because enough senators had agreed to choose a new leader. And you could imagine, the tension in the U.S. if a vote for that was upcoming on Sunday. That's what's going on in Israel. Someone asked for the Discord link. I'll post it again there. Oops. And then one of our viewers, this happened a couple days ago, There was a really bad train, Oris mentioned this, there was a really bad train crash in Pakistan. Unfortunately, train accidents are pretty common there. Last I saw, I think over 60 people died. What is that name of that article of... there's a news site, dawn.com, I think is a Pakistani site. Maybe they'll have an update on it. Dawn.com. Am I right that this is Pakistani news? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Yes. Look. Death toll from train tragedy rises to 65. Over 100 persons injured. Blah, 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 blah. Does it say what happened? Blah, 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 blah. The pre-drawn crash on Monday came as a grim reminder of the 2005 horrific accident on the same track in Sakkur Railway Division when 3 passenger trains had collided with each other, leaving at least 130 passengers dead. According to early reports, the Milat Express was heading from Karachi to Sargodha when it derailed around 3:30 a.m., spilling 8 carriages onto the parallel track. See, one train derailed and went on to a different track. A few minutes later, another train coming from the opposite direction collided with those carriages. Crazy. So is there a question as to why the second train didn't stop? Did the second train know the first train was on the track? Let's see here. New York Times. It's the latest in a series of accidents that have raised serious questions about the safety of rail travel in Pakistan. Pakistan has an abysmal train safety record, and the state-owned system is plagued by corruption and mismanagement. Promises by successive governments to overhaul the system have remained unfulfilled. The Prime Minister, or the President, Prime Minister Imran Khan has vowed to modernize the system. But train accidents have also been frequent under his government. More than 70 people were killed when a train caught fire in 2019. Yeah, GK, I don't know what happened. I don't know why did the second train know that there was a car, that the first train was on its track? Did they try to stop? I have no idea. But just terrible. Oh, and LJD, a couple of our viewers, including LJD, mentioned a solar eclipse on Thursday. I think it's a Thursday morning. A ring of fire solar eclipse will bring a subdued sunrise to the northeast U.S. and Canada on Sunday. The sun will appear partially eclipsed at dawn for parts of North America. Space.com. Oh, where can you see it? For those who live on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan or New York State and New England, as well as the southern portions of Ontario and Quebec. That's in North America, I think. Now I'm a little confused. No place in the U.S. will see the Ring of Fire, it says. That's space.com. Ring of Fire solar eclipse coming Thursday. Folks in the northeastern U.S. will see a partial eclipse. This is USA Today. No part of the U.S. will see the full annular eclipse. But you can probably watch it online. An annular eclipse occurs when the sun and moon are exactly in line with the earth, but the apparent size of the moon is smaller than that of the sun. So you'll see like a ring. The moon's shadow will block the sun, but it's not big enough. So there's a ring of light around. You see a ring of the sun around the shadow. But no part of the U.S. will see the full annular eclipse. We'll see the ring. An annular eclipse is when the moon covers the sun's center, leaving the sun's visible outer edge to form a ring of fire. A partial solar eclipse, that's a partial solar eclipse like that, that's an earlier picture, will be visible in portions of Canada, while a partial eclipse will be seen as the sun rises in much of the northeastern U.S. The Ring of Fire will be visible in portions of Canada. Okay, anyways. Eye protection is necessary during the eclipse. That's important. It's never safe. Right. Do not look directly. This is important. Do not look directly at the sun during an eclipse, including a partial eclipse. NASA warned when watching a partial eclipse, you must wear eclipse glasses at all times if you want to face the sun, or use an alternate indirect method. Good point. Okay. Yeah. C. Michelle Sparks says someone will stream it, I'm sure. So maybe if you want to see the full ring and you're not in those areas, I'm sure you can find places online. Susie Katz says Scotland will see a partial 40% solar eclipse. GK says we'll be able to see the partial eclipse in Massachusetts. No, Florida will not be able to see, I don't even believe in the partial eclipse. April Coco says she has her glasses from the 2017 eclipse. All right. Hold on. Hang on one second here. Gizmo Glass says, paper with hole poked in another surface. I did that once with an eclipse, where you poked like a little hole in something. I think it was a piece of paper, and then you could actually see the eclipse on like a piece of paper behind it. You can Google that. All right, look, guys, I think we've covered the stories I wanted to get to today on the News Roundup. So I think it might be time to wrap up the News Roundup. But this was good. We got to talk about some different stories that are out there. And bunch of things keeping an eye on. We'll keep an eye on the protest situation in Minnesota. If there's more information about that incident in Canada, and so forth. But I appreciate you joining me for the news roundup. Thanks for being here, and thanks for all of your input. Some interesting comments and questions today, and your news tips as well. So subscribe, follow. This is Agenda Free TV too. This is my second channel on YouTube. My first one is Agenda Free TV. But subscribe and follow so you know when we're coming on the air. Remember, I always post breaking news around the clock on my Twitter account @Lookner. So you can follow me there. And hey, I appreciate the moderators. Thank you, moderators. Sarah Joy and Lizzie. They're there moderating now. Really appreciate it. Linda Belk. Thank you, mods. Thank the mods. Betty Nelson says, when I was young, we put a hole in paper and watched the shadow of the eclipse on the cement. Idaho Star, Papa Bear, Bastion Girl. Thanks for moderating. Appreciate it. Also, hey, thanks to the people who donated, too. That's really kind of you. Much appreciated. Duster Singer sees the day, Lee Field. There was one other person on Facebook. I thanked them earlier. Earlier in the broadcast. But if you want to donate to Agenda Free TV or Agenda Free TV 2, you can always go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. But thank you. And remember, also, I have a personal channel where I sometimes stream when there's less news going on. So on YouTube, you can find all of my channels just by clicking the channels. Go to any of the channels and click on channels. Go to any of the channels and click on channels, and you'll see the other channels. See? So Agenda Free TV, Agenda Free TV 2, and Lookner. Lookner is the personal channel. Oh, Denise Horton. Hey, thank you, Denise. That's very nice of you. That's so nice of you, Denise. Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, you can talk to other viewers on the Discord when we're not on the air. Check out the Discord chat room for Agenda Free TV. Link is at the bottom of the YouTube video description. Our moderators can also post it as well. And if anybody out there is ever interested in being a volunteer moderator, just ask the mods for more information. That would be great. All right. Let me say thanks again. Thank you, people watching on Facebook. Betty Nelson, Nicolette Geese, and others there on Facebook. Sherry Auditor, Andrea Clark, Steve Starling, Pat Sweeney, Duster Singer. Ah, Tiffany Rosado. That's so nice of you, Tiffany. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Tiffany Rosado, thank you. Very nice of you. All of our other viewers there on Facebook, our Twitch viewers, thank you. Gizmo Glass 2020, 21, and 2021. McDonald's manager. Lenico. Shaggy. Slug Meat, thank you for watching. A Guy. Carrie Age. French fries. Oh, Hetty Silovitz. Hey, thanks, Hetty. That's very kind of you. Thanks, Hetty, for the fist bump sticker. Thank you for your support, Hetty Silovitz. And thank you to our YouTube viewers. Michelle R. See Michelle Sparks. Melissa McQueen. Denise Horton. Lady Edith. Cryptician, Anna Arrow Ace Arena, seize the day. Cats Go Nuts. Jeff Ha, Kisei. I Found Waldo. Thank you for watching. April Coco. Susie Cat. Rob Van Roy. Mr. C, thank you for watching. Eddie Rux, thank you for watching. All right, guys, so I'm going to wrap this up. If there's big news tonight, of course, I will cover it on Agenda Free TV. Oh, I guess Melissa McQueen is going to help moderate on this channel too. Thank you, Melissa McQueen. And Lady Edith. Thank you, Lady Edith, for helping to moderate on this channel as well. Chris Lund was watching. Thank you, Chris. Kavit, Andre Vandal. Chris, thank you for the donation last night too. I really appreciate that, Chris Lund. All right, guys. And C-SPAN rules. Thank you for watching. All right, we're going to wrap this up now. Oh, and one of our viewers mentioned this. French fries. Yes. This is pretty common. Jason Brodsky says, Syria's news agency, explosions heard in Damascus as air defenses. It looks like Israel is bombing something in Syria. That's pretty common. Often they attack Iranian assets in Syria. So I would not be surprised if that is happening. Instant news alert says, Syrian state media confirms air defense activated as Israel likely striking targets near Damascus. That's a pretty common thing. Darth Tater, thanks for watching too, and Cryptician. All right, guys. And Lauren is Quacks. I am wrapping this up. Thank you so much for joining our news roundup today. And I'm sure we'll be doing more live coverage of news soon. So we will see you soon with live coverage of news here on Agenda Free TV 2, if you're watching that, and Agenda Free TV sometime soon. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.